Launched in 1996 and named after the Cold War's fastest spy plane, the Blackbird was a bold move by Honda from an era when speed was something to shout about. The Blackbird was a bike whose purpose was to transport a rider across vast distances in comfort while doing stratospheric speeds. Something it accomplished, in typical Honda fashion, with an incredible amount of style and sophistication. To prove the point, the Blackbird had its world press launch at Paul Ricard, famous for its then Mistral Straight, the longest in bike sport. Honda's new Hyperbike Duly Dethroned Kawasaki CBR1100 as the king of speed, a title it retained until Suzuki's Hayabusa came along in 1999, after which the Japanese marques had a gentleman's agreement restricting speed to 300 km/h. However, the Blackbird was also much more than just the king of speed. Can you really build a bike with a genuine 170 mph top speed that doesn't feel like a total hooligan? Honda managed it. The Blackbird is also comfortable, classy, durable, and hugely reliable, so much so, in fact, that after an update in 1999 which brought fuel injection, a larger fuel tank and built-in immobiliser, then a final tweak in 2001 which added a catalytic converter, updated dash, and slightly taller screen, Honda actually gave up plans to update the bike entirely. In its day, the Blackbird delivered a quantum leap in terms of hyperbike performance and speed. Kawasaki's 147 brake horsepower CBR1100 had been the reigning speed king for 6 long years from 1990 when the Blackbird came out, and Honda exploited that period ruthlessly. With a whopping 164 brake horsepower, Honda's new rival wasn't just more powerful than the ZZR, it blew it away with almost 20 more horsepower. That, allied to its groundbreaking aerodynamics, was why the Honda was significantly faster overall. Just as impressive, however, is the fact that power isn't all a top-end rush. The Blackbird also has a vast spread of torque that makes single or two-up touring a very relaxed affair, while it's also very smooth and civilized. Overall, there's an acceptable, tractable degree of low-down power which progresses smoothly into a muscular mid-range before hitting a top-end rush that has you rushing towards the horizon in an astonishing blur. The Blackbird really is that brilliant. Although the Super Blackbird's big 1137cc inline-4 engine is largely conventional, and was actually derived from that of the Fireblade, it works brilliantly well, has fabulous performance, and is also ultra-reliable. Dual balancer shafts mean it's smooth, allowing it to be rigidly mounted, helping make the Blackbird lighter yet stiff. It's also fabulously refined. In 1999, fuel injection replaced carbs, while a catalyzer was added to its 4-2 exhaust in 2002, but otherwise there were no changes. It's also bulletproof and almost completely reliable, and high mileage examples should give few concerns. Cam chain tensioners and regulator rectifiers can fail, as with most Hondas of this era, but as long as properly maintained, you'll have nothing to worry about. Although a superb long-distance sports toured, the Blackbird is first and foremost a large-engined, high-power, performance-orientated hyperbike, so economy was never going to be its strongest suit. As a result, typical MPGs will be in the mid to high 30s depending on use, although due to the large 22-liter tank this should still return a reasonable 180 miles between fill-ups. Pay a bit more and you can get the updated 1999 fuel-injected model with a larger 24-liter fuel tank. However, it isn't as economical on fuel as the carbed machine, and a lot of owners search out the older bike because of this. Although there may be no getting away from the fact that the Super Blackbird is a big, long hyperbike weighing a fairly hefty 223 kilograms, it's also worth pointing out that it's also 10 kilograms lighter than the CBR1100 that it dethroned, and a full 15 kilograms less than Kawasaki's more recent CBR1400. Its chassis is impressively rigid, its suspension taut yet also proving a reasonably plush, comfortable ride. The Blackbird is also neutral and stable, and overall, the handling is sporty without ever threatening to get out of hand. The Blackbird came with Honda's DCBS linked system using 3 piston calipers biting onto big discs front and rear. Basically, when the front brake lever is applied, 2 of the 3 front pistons are activated along with one of the rear caliper, and vice versa when the rear brake lever is used. They work well enough and don't lack power, and do add a touch of reassurance in slippery conditions. Some owners, however, are skeptical. Purists prefer conventional systems, and due to its complexity, overhauls can be expensive. Despite being built for speed, the Blackbird is a very comfortable sports tourer, far more so than the bike that knocked it off its perch as the fastest production machine. Suzuki's Hayabusa may have been able to hit 190 mph, but it did so by sacrificing comfort for performance. Hop on a Blackbird and you can be 600 miles away from home before you know it. Attempt something similar on a Busa, and your wrists will be aching by the time you have used up your first tank of fuel. That said, some Blackbird owners do boost comfort further by adding bar risers and/or double bubble screens. Although the CBR1100XX Super Blackbird was a range topping machine in its day, meaning that it was well spec'd with a comprehensive dash including a fuel gauge and clock, luggage points, and main stand, it's also a machine from the pre-digital age. As a result, there's no electronic rider aids. The dash is mostly analog and not even ABS. The later 2002 on versions are arguably the best, while in 1999 it was also updated with fuel injection. However, some owners actually prefer the Carbed originals. Official accessories are limited, but popular owner add-ons include fitted hard luggage, heated grips, higher screens, and performance exhausts.